Welcome back to 5-Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Today, we're going to talk about the Scott Fish Bowl. Make sure you go to fantasycares.org. Donate if you can. It's a great cause. The fantasy community does a great job giving back this time of year. And, of course, go to Underdog Fantasy. You can join, actually, the Scott Fish Bowl satellites, $5. All the entry fees are going over to fantasycares.org. But use promo code FFSGPN when you do your first deposit so they know we sent you. And so let's look at it. I'll break down my team, but I want to look at, all the different strategies, and you can kind of figure out what team builds you like. Because at the end of the day, you can get halfway through the draft and be like, man, I wish I would have went a different direction. If you're there halfway through your draft or you haven't got there yet, this might help you. So the first guy went Christian McCaffrey. This was a previous, one of the previous division winners. He went McCaffrey right off the bat. Then he got Burrow, Henry, Pacheco, went really heavy at running back. Then he got Deshaun Watson. So no tight end, no receiver through the first 5 rounds. Then he ended up with Rashid Shaheed as his number 1 receiver, T. Higgins and Tank Dell. Then he had Chase Brown, Jerome Ford, Marvin Mims going for some of that kick return upside. Geno Smith is his third. That's his third quarterback. Went Tyler Conklin, completely punted the position. Jonnu Smith had Mike Gesicki, took some, kind of the shotgun approach. Ty Chandler, Bucky Irvin, Demario Douglas, Duvernay, really heavy on kick returns. Louis Reese, I can't even say the name, the French guy. Tyler Bass. Remember, Sleeper doesn't have, they have the, Scott Fish has a great scoring for kickers, but you can only start one. You can't flex a kicker on the Sleeper format. So the Jamal Agnew. So really heavy on the return guys as far as his receivers to make up for the fact that he didn't really go, with the receiver until the 6th round. Really heavy on the running backs, pretty heavy on the quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson. But Geno Smith could end up being a very good value where he took him, because remember, it is super flex. So what do you think about that team build? Here's my team build. I went kind of a rainbow approach, a little bit of a zero RB, if you want to call that. Maybe zero RB truthers probably think I didn't wait long enough. But Lamar Jackson, Trey McBride, Devontae Adams, Brock Purdy. I kind of wanted Mark Andrews there, but I was kind of concerned about the bye weeks. I also thought about Jonathan Taylor at that spot. Jonathan Taylor almost made it back to me, which would have been really, really great. But I took Trey McBride, mixed it up, didn't want too many people. Remember, the playoffs are starting week 12. So I didn't want my, first 2 picks to be on bye week with Jonathan Taylor or Mark Andrews. Then I got Devontae Adams, Brock Purdy. Locked up my 2 quarterbacks, so I knew I was not going to go quarterback for a long time. Locked up my tight end position, and then I was just going to go crazy with the running backs and receivers, really kind of a BPA, because you have those 6 flexes. So Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Joe Mixon, Zamir White, George Pickens. I went really quick on kicker, thinking because there's only one that people might jump on them with the amount of points they score in this format, and I was totally wrong. So I would not suggest grabbing a kicker as early as I did. Gus Edwards, Brian Robinson. Again, these volume backs really, I took Mixon, Zamir White, Gus Edwards, Brian Robinson. I'm really looking for guys that are going to get volume, the bigger backs that are going to be able to get those goal line touches, but also are getting those, fourth and short or 3rd and short, those situations, because they're getting the bonus for the first downs. Cortland Sutton, really just I needed to get something at the receiver position at this point. Justin Fields at this position, at this point, I really was hoping to get one of the last quarterbacks. I lost out, but I wasn't going to go and get an Aiden O'Connell or go and get a Sam Darnold, because at the end of the day, nobody has more upside in this format than Justin Fields at this position. So, yeah, I probably could have went with a Bryce Young or a Geno Smith or a Daniel Jones, but I wasn't sweating it because Justin Fields was the person I was eyeing up, and the drafters were like, oh, man, yeah, I was going to go after Fields. Fields has amazing upside with the rushing in this format. Hunter Henry, I think he's going to be a volume guy. I think that Scott Van Pelt offense, which Jacoby Brissett. But then I started going after kick returners and then high upside running backs. So Algier and Elijah Mitchell. The two, probably the 1 and 2 running backs are McCaffrey and Bijan. I handcuff them. So if those guys were to go down, I got the handcuff. Xavier Gibson, probably the best return man in the game, if not the second best, but the guy from the Packers was not an option. Tucker Kraft and Juwan Johnson. Again, Juwan Johnson, didn't love that one, but Kraft is another guy where I'm shooting for upside. I went Jake Browning, another upside pick. We saw what happened last year with Joe Burrow when Joe Burrow went down. And so it was, Browning, Howell, Flacco. Flacco ended up not getting drafted, but I thought about those guys. Then I went Turpin, Keaton Mitchell. Next, let me know what you think about that format. Then the third team, they went Josh Allen, Jordan Love, double tap the quarterback. Then you have the third round reversal. They grab the running back ETN. So they don't have a tight end or receiver at this point. But Chris Olave, Deebo Samuel, Jake Ferguson, and then kind of you anchor running back style because he went crazy at the receiver position. Went DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Roman Dunze, Deontay Johnson, Christian Watson. So he didn't go receiver in the first 3 rounds, but he went receivers 4 through 11 were all receivers except for Jay Ferguson. Then he took Bryce Young as his third quarterback. Then you have Chuba Hubbard, Isaiah Likely, some upside picks right there. Antonio Gibson, Jake Elliott, Rashad Bateman, Jalen McMillan, Braylon Allen, Malachi Corley, A.J. Dillon, and then Zay Jones. Let me know what you think about that one. This one right here, the next guy was the guy that took the receiver in the first round. Steve took CeeDee Lamb, got Prescott, and then Jonathan Taylor. I really like all 3 of those picks. I think he had a really good start to the draft. 3 guys that could potentially have gone all in the first round. And then you have Justin Herbert, and then Keenan Allen, Alvin Kamara, and then David Montgomery. So really, kind of a hero receiver approach. Got the receiver early, got a really safe pick, and then went and got the quarterbacks and the running backs. Then went TJ Hawkinson. I don't love the Hawkinson pick, but again, this is a tournament you're playing for upside. If Hawkinson hits later in the season, then it's going to be a huge smash. But, meant to take a few weeks riding, somebody else for a while. Tajay Spears, again, a ton of running backs. Then he went Calvin Ridley, Brian Thomas Jr., Curtis Samuel, Devontae Wicks, and then Brandon Cooks. Cooks kind of a little bit of a sleeper there. Number 2 target where Dallas is going to throw the ball a lot. Kamani Vidal, Sam Darnold, Daniel Bellinger, Wan'Dale Robinson, then Demarcus Robinson. I actually was really, I wish I could get the Demarcus Robinson pick. I really wanted him instead of Juwan Johnson. Jason Sanders, Dylan Labe, and then Odell Beckham. So let me know what you think about that build. The next one, I think this is another one of the divisional champs. You had 3 divisional champs in here, from my understanding. This one was Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown with the stack. Then he got Kyren Williams, Caleb Williams, stacking the Williams. And Kyren Williams is the guy who was polarizing. I mean, he was the number 3, the running back or number 2 running back last year. You get him in the 3rd round. Then Caleb Williams, James Cook. So really kind of the rainbow approach here. Then, Njoku. So he's got a starting lineup already set. And, he got all the different positions covered in the first 6 rounds. Then, Diggs, Warren, Mostert. Mostert's another guy where like Kyren Williams and Mostert were huge last year. Njoku finished the year strong. Then obviously, you have the solid Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Stephon Diggs, he's in a new situation. He's really been good in the beginning of the season and not been good in the second half. Hollywood Brown, Tony Pollard, Cade Otton, Tyler Lockett, Josh Downs, Damian Pierce, Tyrone Tracy. All 3 of those guys, Downs, Pierce, and Tracy, and Dortch could all be upside picks with this return yardage. Theo Johnson, Darren Waller's out of town, and so he's going to be making more rap videos. And so Theo Johnson could end up being the starter if it's not Daniel Bellinger, or it's going to be a combo. You have Dicker, Howell, Berrios, and Guerrero. Berrios and Guerrero are just upside picks. And again, anything past like round 12, you really should be shooting for upside. This is tournament play, so you're not going to get anywhere by just grabbing somebody that is gonna be someone that you could fill in on a bye week and get 8 points out of. Like, you want to shoot for the moon. And that's why, like, I went for Justin Fields. That's why I went for kick returners. And that's why a lot of these guys are going for, these quarterbacks on good offenses or these high value handcuff running backs. Let me know what you think about that approach. Another double tap on the quarterback, Murray and Daniels. Again, I love the Murray pick, but I still think you probably could have waited on Daniels. You can't trade in this one, but Murray, Richardson, Mahomes, Stroud. I mean, I think there's an argument you could have, went a little early on Murray as well. But I just think it's way too early for Daniels on this format, because you don't have to go with you don't have to go with the quarterback in the superflex because of all of the other premiums. And so he missed out on a lot of the top receivers, and it's kind of hurt him at running back and other positions. So let me know. Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Devin Singletary. So he's got Barkley and Singletary, but again, he only has to start one running back. Cooper Kupp and Amari Cooper will fight for his wide receiver one. Rashee Rice, Chris Godwin. I really like the Rashee Rice pick. I think that's a little value. And Ezekiel Elliott, again, this is volume. You're looking for guys that are going to get first downs and carries. Ezekiel Elliott's probably going to get fed in Dallas unless they find somebody else. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Dotson, really like those picks. Carr, I mean, there's no negatives, which is great, but I just don't think this is a good format for Derek Carr. He gets 300 yards and, a touchdown. Well, it's only 1 point per 50 yards, and he gets no rushing. Noah Fant, a lot of love out there for Noah Fant right now, being like a late breakout guy. And those guys do happen in the tight end position, but we'll see. Josh Palmer, Jerry Jeudy, Khalil Herbert. Herbert, maybe he gets traded to Dallas. That could hurt his Zeke, but help Herbert. Thielen, Cordell Patterson, Audric Estime, and then last was kicker Greg the Leg Zuerlein. Anthony Richardson, he's the sexy pick. Everyone was excited to get him. He went pick 7. Then Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka, Drake, Waddle, Collins, really stacked up the receivers, and I love it. I mean, Nico Collins in the 6th round. I definitely thought about Nico Collins when I was picking. I probably thought about Nico Collins in the 5th, to be honest, but we'll see with Diggs there, how much volume he continues to get. I had to go running back because I didn't have any running backs, and if not, I would have went with Collins, but went Evans over Collins. Harris, then McLaurin, Rodgers. So you get Aaron Rodgers mixed with Anthony Richardson, 2 guys coming off of injury, but potentially you got the high touchdowns with the rushing combined. And then Najee Harris is your only running back in the first 9 rounds. Javonte Williams, number 10. But again, you only have to start one running back. So again, his team is Richardson, St. Brown, Puka, Drake, Waddle, Collins, Harris, McLaurin, Rodgers, Javonte, Xavier Worthy, Daniel Jones. Then he went Ben Sinnott, Quentin Johnston, Chig Okonkwo. Really faded the tight end position. I think that's going to hurt him. Kendrick Miller, Jermaine Burton. I like those picks. I like the Mooney pick. Went Mayer, went Parkinson. He's really hoping to just hit on one of those guys or the waiver wire probably. Anthony Gould, little sleepy kick returner, and then finished up with the Colts special teams with the Matt Gay pick. Then we have Patrick Mahomes, the 108. Mahomes, Jefferson, Wilson, Ayuk. Then Rashad White, solid pick in the 5th round for your one running back. And like I said, you don't have to start more than one because all the flexes. But Mahomes, Jefferson, Wilson, Ayuk is a fantastic start. Rashad White, then Kirk Cousins. Cousins bounce back. This could be a very dangerous team. And then you get, Aaron Jones and Keenan Allen. This is not dynasty. You look, older players are fine. And so Pat Freiermuth is your tight end 1. That's the only kind of questionable thing. But, Arthur Smith really did, they did pass through the tight ends last year. And you could see that more in this offense. I mean, they don't really have a proven receiver room. It's George Pickens, and then it's Roman Wilson and Van Jefferson, and Pat Freiermuth could have a bigger role, him and Jaylen Warren. And the Atlanta Falcons led the NFL in air yards to the tight end last year. Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, some blasts from the pass. You're getting them good value. they bounce back. It's gonna be big hits. Jameson Williams and Gardner Minshew. Minshew's a little sneaky there. Offers a little bit of rushing. He's kind of, a Baker Mayfield-esque type of player. If he ends up being the starter, that all, is up in the air. Jacoby Myers, pairing them up. Moody, Dobbins, again, this is another guy that's, if he's healthy, this could be a smash pick. Polk, Hyatt, Wilson, some upside on the receivers. Same with Michael Wilson. Wilson had a few big games last year, but we'll see. Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't there. Greg Dulcich and Jason Myers. So let me know what you think about this build. This was more of a balanced approach, but, waited a little bit on the tight end, but, got the decent balance there with the three receivers and then the running back, wait on tight end more than anything. Then we have CJ Stroud, Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jacobs, Pittman, Goddard, Connor, Schultz. So he double tapped the tight end because he waited a little bit, but he was able to get good value with Schultz and Goddard. And then James Conner, Jacobs. He really did try to balance things out here. So Stroud, Chase, Harrison, Jacobs, Pittman, Goddard, Connor, Schultz, Mayfield. Corum. Then you have Taysom Hill. This is a very interesting format for him. Bo Nix, Romeo Dobbs, Troy Franklin, Adonai Mitchell, Jaleel McLaughlin. Double tap the kicker. Then went Trey Palmer, Zach Ertz, Luke McCaffrey, and Jalen Tolbert. With this build, again, another guy that kind of went with a balanced approach. Double tap the tight ends there because he waited till 6, so he took another one in round 8. And then here's the tight end bully, J. Mike. Breece Hall, then he went Kelsey, Pitts, Kittle, Bowers. Then he took Neighbors, took Smith as his top 2 receivers. Zach Moss is his second running back, and then Jordan Addison, who unfortunately just got a DUI. Will Levis, then DeAndre Hopkins, Harrison Butker. As long as he's not giving any speeches, he should be good for his fantasy team. I have Russell Wilson as the second receiver on this team. So Will Levis and Russell Wilson are his quarterbacks. Again, there's no negative scoring, so that'll help them. Rico Dowdle and Marshawn Lloyd and Ray Davis, some upside running backs. Brissett and Penix, again, shooting for some upside. Brissett could play a lot longer into the season than we thought. And again, his quarterbacks need a little depth when you go with some lower picks. Plus, we've seen a lot of injured quarterbacks last 2 seasons. We got Rashawn Johnson, Eric Gray, Calvin Austin, and Knox Austin could be, big in the return game. So then we had Bijan Robinson, Tyreek Hill, Mark Andrews, and Jared Goff. I really like that start from Andrew Hall. Upside pick here with Achane. So Bijan and Achane is just that's and Tyreek Hill went heavy on the Dolphins. Really fun pick, and again another guy that went rainbow. DJ Moore, Stafford, Christian Kirk, Jonathan Brooks, young running backs here, and some proven receivers. I like the Goff and Stafford stack if you're talking about guys that could get 30 touchdowns each. These are 2 guys, and if you love the weapons, you got to love the quarterback, right? And then Mark Andrews, again, I thought about Mark Andrews in round 2. Thought it was a good value there. JJ McCarthy, 3rd upside pick. If one of those guys goes down, McCarthy may have to play, may not. But if McCarthy hits, you get him in there in the Will Levis range. Cole Kmet, Keon Coleman, Zach Charbonnet, Justin Tucker, Xavier Leggett, Aiden O'Connell. Again, he's just really getting best player available per round. He's not looking at anything specific. Naeem Hines, Gabriel Davis, Darius Davis, Barry McLeod, all, upside handcuff running backs and guys that could be kick return specialists. Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, back-to-back Lions, week 5 bye. Kincaid, Lawrence, Tua. So he's got everything except for receiver. He really faded receiver for a while. DeAndre Swift and Ramondre Stevenson. But still got pretty good value here at the receiver position with Jaden Reed and McConkey. I'm not really crazy about them being my wide receiver 1. I probably would have taken someone, earlier. You could have, I would have probably not taken Swift and taken one of those guys, Nico Collins or Amari Cooper. Um, oh, well, those guys weren't available actually. So you look at the next round. So Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, T Higgins. Yeah, I would have liked all those guys over Swift. And maybe he does too now that he's looking at it. Trey Benson, Luke Musgrave, Khalil Shakur, Drake May, Evan McPherson. Then we had Jalen Wright for Miami, Ricky Pearsall, little rookies. Jelani Woods, Javon Baker, again, upside. Hey, going with the rookies. You never know with these guys. You might be cutting them by week 3, or they might be huge hits, and you're not having to use all your fab. Again, you want to shoot for upside in these big tournaments, and you got to look a little different if you're going to make some noise. They have Younghoe Koo, great kicker. That Rondell Moore, Davis Allen. Allen could be a sneaky play. I know Colby Parkinson got paid, but Tyler he's not going to play this year. I mean, that played for a while. He got hurt late, and it was a really bad injury. So let me know what you think. This is an extended episode, Scott Fish Bowl 14. Make sure you sign up for Scott Fish Bowl 15, and make sure you go to fantasycarrots.org and donate. As always, good luck this season.